Hi everyone, Soul Super 17 here. Let me get through this like usual. I do not own the picture. This is not a paid video. And I made the thumbnail. Alright, okay. So, this is part 3, because I would have made another what if. But, my mind was on this because I kind of... How should I say this? I kind of basically interrupted basically part 3 part 2. Because I have to like rush it, and I've been kind of realizing I really can't do my what ifs because when I get home, I am tired. Well, sort of. I need to charge my phone, and I also basically want to relax and such. So I can try to get to sleep, and then like before work, I wake up at like 5 or 4 o'clock, and I have to eat dinner, and then basically I don't have like till like 7, and then 8. Basically, I only have like an hour left. An hour and 30 minutes left to just get ready for work and such. So I'm like, I can't make a what if. So, in this case, I had to. Well, I'm trying to make my basically stuff on my weekends, my what ifs, but I'm kind of realizing also with that I'm getting lazy. I want to just chill, relax, and just do whatever, and I'm keep on going out and doing shit, or I want to hang out with friends, or hang out with a friend of mine, or just play some games. So yeah, I keep on also trying to basically try to do a whole lot of stuff on my weekends, and I don't have enough time. But the one thing though I can literally say, soon I'm gonna be switching to basically the morning shift because of the summer. But there's a problem with that because I'm going to be dead tired. And I'm going to have to basically wake up at 4 in the morning. So when I get home, I don't know if I'll be able to want to make a what if or something. So yay! But I'm going to have to go to bed early. But at least I have a couple of hours up. Good for that, right? Alright, so enough of that. I have the Darksiders 2 on my PS4 and everything, so I do have basically all the skills. It doesn't really matter though, because some of the skills that Death have in Darksiders 2 is not what Naruto's gonna have. So yeah. Anyways, let's get this started after I boot up my PS4 because I'm gonna probably want to play the game too while I'm doing this what if. So give me a minute, guys. Okay, so I got my game running. I can then basically, look at the skill tree anytime I want now. So anyways, let's just get this started. This is what if Naruto was death, or, became death. So, this is part 3. So, last time, basically, Naruto, we kind of went just over Naruto just training, doing missions, and now, before the wave mission, we have Naruto basically, getting a letter from Death and Kami. As we have Naruto, basically looking at it and saying like, what? Right before my mission? As Death says, well, this can happen from time to time. Maybe. You have to basically learn to cope with this, Naruto. As Naruto's like, oh, come on. Alright, let's see what type of mission they're giving me. Or something, at least. So, Naruto basically is a little bit annoyed and, goes over and gets basically the scroll, or, the roll of paper, basically, as he's looking at it. And it says, Dear Naruto, basically, we decided to give you a mission, you can call it, but it's more like a test. A test to see if you can handle this. As Naruto's like, what? Did they not have any basically faith I can do this? Alright, I should not get angry. Alright. So, what happens next is as he reads on, he basically then, basically sees what Elsa says. And it basically says, we have decided to basically test you on with a trial, basically a dungeon. We want you to basically understand that this is basically a dungeon that's going to be a lower level to your own. It's not going to be high, but it's going to be roughly a challenge for you. Hope you understand. As Naruto's like, right. Oh, and basically Death has decided to give you a little something to help you. This is a skill, basically, artifact. This will allow you to have a certain, basically, skill, given to you. Death, though, is requiring you to basically take the skill that basically will best suit for this situation. And I may pronounce this name wrong, but Exhume, or Exhum, basically it's Exhume. Basically, this skill allows you to summon, usually bloodthirsty ghouls from beyond the grave to fight alongside you. But he's changed it. Since you are different, and you need all the assistance you can get, he has basically decided to, how should I say this right? He has decided for you to basically summon, people that you basically chosen, or people that basically would work well with you. You have 2 summons already. The rest you can get on your own, but he was thinking of a third person for you to be able to summon. As such, you must know who basically those 2 people are going to be. As Naruto's like, okay, why do I feel like this is gonna be a very interesting moment? As basically Kurama says, because idiot, it is. As Naruto, basically says, yeah, I know you're right, but still. So, as basically Naruto reads and goes, and such, basically this dungeon basically we have made is outside of Konoha, in your training ground. You're going to need this magical item basically that is sealed within this parchment. All you have to use is basically chakra for this. Do not worry. So, as Naruto hears this, he basically, finds the seal and such, and, he basically does see the artifact, the skill artifact basically taped onto the paper as his eye just twitches. As he goes, okay, why do I feel like that's just a little bit I don't know, overly trying to keep it secured? As then Kurama's like, with you, we never know. As he's like, hurtful, but is it true? Naruto just keeps quiet. He goes, exactly. So, after that, he basically reads on and goes, and so Death wanted me to give you this. This basically dungeon we have made is a test to see if you basically are, of your skills so far, and to see if you are ready for some revelations that will be given to you. Hopefully you can understand, Naruto. And such, we just want you to succeed in some things. And in others, we want you to basically, become a better ninja. For Konoha has truly disappointed me. To have basically you, the person who I wanted to basically save the world, become Death. So I'm sorry for basically the world's mistreatment of you. If you have not figured out it's Cammy. As Naruto's like, kind of figure that much. Sort of. So, Naruto basically takes the skill artifact. And he basically just sighs and just says to himself, well, if Cammy and basically Lord Shimigami want me to do this. And just to make sure, he does look at the basically paper to see if there's any more notes. He goes, "Oh, by the way, though, there are going to be some things in here that's going to be helping you out, like extra Ryu, or basically, to help you basically with the stupid villagers, basically charging you a lot of money. Hopefully, basically, you like what you're doing, and you may get some materials from this dungeon, too." I hear basically Shimigami put in some iron in it, and you have to basically find a weapon at least in there that's only to be used in that dungeon. I want you to basically not to rely on him, but Shimigami is right, though. You need to get some resources and such to help you out on your journey if you're going to survive. Well, good luck to you. As Naruto just sighs and be like, well, how do I even, first off, access this skill? As Naruto basically will look at this skill artifact as Dust will just say, how about, I don't know, crushing it? As Naruto would just sigh and, says, why didn't I think of that? Kurama then says, because you're an idiot. And Dust would just add, her 2 cents into it. As he just basically, exactly the same thing as Kurama. And he just sighs again and be like, yeah, I get it. I need to think before I say anything. Or ask questions sometimes. So, as he crushes it, basically, we do have, basically, Naruto, all of a sudden, feeling a rush of power goes into him. As the skill, basically, how should I say this? The skill, basically, he can tell is a part of, not part of him, but the skill basically is awakening, and it gives an unknown amount of power basically given to Naruto, in a sense. As basically Kurama was just blinking, he's like, okay, so this is what's gonna be like. Which Naruto just then, gets the key access and be like, well, let's go see this dungeon at least. It's only 8 o'clock at night, so I should have some time to be able to do this, finish up the dungeon. So Naruto basically grabs his things, or his ninja tools, or clothing, and just gets to basically the training ground 7 as fast as possible. So basically you can finish up the mission and basically get a good night's rest. So, when he does run into some people, basically, I would say some villagers basically see Naruto jumping and they don't like him, but they're wondering why is the demon, brat all of a sudden going out at night. So some people are basically, thinking stupidly, because I do think this would happen. And so someone wants to tell something to another person, and they just say, who cares, let the kid, let the demon basically die or whatever. Because that's what they think is going to happen. So, because of basically Naruto, how should I say this? Going out to this, there will be signs of him, so some people will be curious and such, and try to find out. Not many, only a few. Say, Yugao or Kat would basically try to figure out what's going on with Naruto, but because Naruto would always disappear basically from the Anbu, it is hard to track him, so they don't, she basically her group won't know where Naruto went, and that would be very frustrating for her. So, in a sense, though, Naruto does get to basically training around 7, and he does sigh. He goes like, "Oh, thankfully I lost to Anbu. That was, following me." And Kurama was like, "Yep. Now, let's see basically what's this dungeon like." Which Naruto would agree. So, as he basically, has the key out of his kunai and shuriken holder, he goes, "Alright. Now, is there like a gate or door?" As all of a sudden the key starts to glow purple, and basically all of a sudden a keyhole appears in the middle of the air, which Kurama and Naruto just blink and just be like, okay. That's new. Right, Kurama? Which Kurama was like, "I've never seen this ever happen before in my whole entire years of living. And I lived for a long time." So Naruto's like, "Yep, understandable." So, he basically, puts the key in the keyhole and, turns. As then there hears a click sound as all of a sudden the ground, basically in front of him, opens up. Now, he immediately sighs in relief and grabs the mask and, he grabs the mask and puts it on. Immediately transforming him into his Reaper form, basically. Nephilim form. As he basically, gets a feel for basically this form again, and he flexes his hand, and his sides basically appear on both of his side. And he goes, "Right, let's get this started." And so, because of Naruto, also basically getting into the dungeon, we do have him go like, "But first, before we go any further into this, let's summon out basically my allies." Which Kurama was like, "Yeah, let's see if basically these aren't weaklings." Which basically Naruto just sighs and be like, "I hope basically they don't hate me from the past." Which basically I think Kurama would say, "Kid, I don't think the Shinigami or Kami will allow basically people to hate you if, they're from your past that, died." Which he says thank you to Kurama. And Dust says, "Lord Shinigami would never allow it either. Truly would never allow it. So you don't have to worry." As Naruto does thank Dust for the more reinsurance because of, to be fair, I do think he would be somewhat also, like, heavily, basically, how should I say this? Heavily, like, questioning sometimes of some people in his life. Trust issues, basically, of how he was treated. Even if, basically, he's ignored, he still will have some trust issues. So, because of that, he is still a little bit hesitant, but does all of a sudden summon the two coffins. And who comes out of it shocks Kurama because of one thing, as he just says, "Mito Uzumaki." As when Naruto hears that, he blinks. He goes, "Wait, Uzumaki?" As then the other one Naruto doesn't even know of as well. When Mito and this unknown ninja, which I do have to check the name real quick because I forgot about it. Alright, as I was saying, as this unknown man who's basically has, basically it seems like brown hair wearing a mask. He's tall and lengthy, not basically, buff and such, as he has wrappings around his forearm, around his wrist, all the way up to his shoulders. Wearing a black, basically, shirt, and basically probably some blue, basically, pants, as he basically has the mark for basically Kiri. Basically for the basically the Mizuki. Where Maid Tsurumi basically becomes a part of the Hidden Leaf. I mean, not Hidden Leaf Village. Becomes basically the Hokage of the village. And I'm probably should try to remember it, but for some reason I don't remember the name of the village, no matter how many times I try. But you know what I mean. Basically, where Zabuza is from the Hidden Mist village, basically. And so basically, Naruto's like, who are these people? As Kurama goes, Mito Uzumaki, your ancestor. The one who was my first Jinchuriki. And that is Kishimaru. A man who basically wielded a sword that was called Sewing Needle. Part of the 7 Swordsmen of the Mist. He was, Kushina basically fought him once. He goes, Kushina? My previous host, kid. Which Naruto's like, has an O face. As all of a sudden the two people were waking up as... Hold up. Okay, 21 minutes in, I don't really care, so... I just had to turn on my fan louder because I felt my dad. If I was not gonna need it. But, yeah. You guys already know my name, I don't care. So, anyways... What happens, as I was saying, as they're waking up? They basically all of a sudden starting to blink as Mito's the first one to say something. She goes, what the? Where am I? As, basically, Kishimaru? Oh, God, give me a minute. Okay, turns out I was right, it was Kushimaru. Basically, Kushimaru just, does exactly the same thing as basically Mito, but he's a little bit more on guard. As then he goes, wait a minute. As he looks over, he goes, Mito Uzumaki? As she goes, basically, Mito looks at her, at him, and says, wait, who are you? He goes, I'm Kushimaru, part of the 7 Swordsmen of the Mist. Which she's like, wait, why are we here, and why am I... As then all of a sudden they both have a flashback of basically, I would say not deaf, but are basically, Shimigami and Shimigami and basically Kami would, basically came in and, talked to them. As Kami was like, Mito, Kushimaru, as, basically they're like saying like, who, I think Mito asked, basically, why am I here? As basically even Kushimaru would just be quiet, but, as he would just ask that basically eventually, but not at the right basic moment as Mito, because she asked first. As she sighs and just says, well, the thing is, we basically need your help. You see, there's someone that basically is become the new Horseman of Death. Which, I don't think they would have known the Horseman of Death, like, there even was a Horseman, so they would have been shocked. And such, they would ask, wait, Horseman? As, Kami would say, yes, Horseman. You see, Death was not always basically known as the Shimigami. As basically, he goes, yes, I was not always known. I was called the Horseman of Death. A Nephilim. A being basically that was used by the High Council to bring order to the world. And so we were kind of used as weapons. As Cammy would just nod and be like, yes, that is true. And basically he then says, and so, because of that, we kind of, how should I say this right? We kind of defected against our, basically, masters in a way, and just made our whole entire new life as rulers of our said basically seats given to us by the council of the Shinto pantheon, which is your guys' realm. As this basically shocks, Mito and Kishimaru, basically, because they had no idea about this, so this was a real shocker for them. But, nevertheless, they asked, so, Kishimaru asked, so what do you need for us, specifically? I don't think Death himself and basically a goddess would call upon us if basically this thing wasn't serious. As Mito would nod. And so basically Cammy and Shimigami would tell them the situation, more about basically the further of the new death, basically. And when Kishimaru finds out that Uzumaki, along with Mito, he showed up, and Mito's basically kind of, furious with this. So, Shiba agreed. And then, along with Kishimaru, just says, I have nothing better to do. I'm dead. So, that would make basically Shimigami chuckle. So, yeah. And he basically told them that he would give basically the kid another member, basically would go with them. Which they're like, huh? Another member? He's basically given the kid 3 summons. Ones that basically will help him in his journey. In which, basically, they would nod. As soon as that basically all, comes back to them, basically, we will then have Mito look at Naruto, as basically Mito will say, well, Lord Shimigami did say to us you would look different, which Naruto's like, wait, you guys are not, terrified, shocked, afraid? Which Kishimaru says, kid, we already told and showed how you look and what happened to you your whole entire life. Kinda sucks that the 9 tails was sealed into you, but it also kinda not sucks that you're basically now technically in one with the 9 tails, and you can basically kiss this leaf ninja's basically arrogance behind and basically say to them, I'm my own person. Kind of rules for you on that one. Which Naruto chuckles at his basically attitude. But Mio just looks at Naruto and he's like, hi? Which she just goes over to him and asks him softly, do you not know anything about your clan heritage? Which he says to her, no, actually I don't. I don't know basically nothing of it. And she does have a soft, basically sad smile on her face. And she says then, well, it looks like I have to do my task that Lord Shimigami asked me to do. I'll train you to the best of my capabilities. How about that? Which Naruto looks at her and just has a soft smile and just nods. In which basically Kishimaru says, yeah, I'm supposed to train you basically on how to wield another weapon. Too bad about my sewing needle. I could have basically told you how to use it, the Nabari. But they can work with basically my jutsus, which Naruto's just blinking, including basically dust that's on his, back. Well, not back, on his shoulder, as he says, wait, you still use jutsus? As they just nod. And so, I would say, well, Naruto just says, well, let's get through this dungeon as quickly as possible. Alright? I got a mission I gotta do in the basically morning. So Naruto basically has his knives out and walking, well, by literally he takes them off of his, waist and will go down through the dungeon. As Mito would technically have her sword on her. But, let me just do something real quick. Alright, sorry about that. Anyways, though, as I was saying, Shimido has her weapon. Kishimaru also has his weapons, but no Nabari, since they took that away, and Death is basically getting that himself for right now. So, Naruto does... I would say Naruto basically does find basically his very first enemies. Skeletons. Which, he's like, huh, so I'm faced against bones? Which does says, do not think it's easy, Naruto. These are basically very formidable opponents if basically there's a group of them. It seems the Lord of Bones, is still around even to this day. As this would kind of make Naruto blink, but nevertheless, he would, basically just nod, and the fight will basically start because there's around like maybe 10 bone, well, not 10, but 3 bone soldiers there. I know basically it's not how it basically starts, but due to basically Darksiders, basically 2, when it started, they were basically bone, basically creatures that were basically frozen. So, bone skeletons, so yeah. So anyways, because of this, we do have Naruto basically just actually, I would say, how can I say this right? We have Naruto basically actually go to, well, basically the first one that he faces. And that's going to be probably one that basically would be not on his level, but, well, because it's basically probably like 2 points higher or a point higher. I was trying to think right away, but my brain couldn't think for some reason on that one. So, Naruto's taken on basically the bone skeleton. As he's thinking to himself, okay, how do I deal with this one? I'll find a way. Can't be that hard to deal with it. Yeah, his attacks are basically good. He's basically quick on his feet and he's able to block set attacks or dodge. While Mito and Kishimaru are taking on their own, basically, skeleton soldier, as Mito's not having a hard time. Kishimaru, well, he only has kunais and he's using jutsus, but there's no water source nearby. So it is a little bit difficult at first, but he does find a way how to get through it. And in a sense, it's, well, basically they don't have trouble with it. Mito does use her chains to basically, wrap around the skeleton, as Kishimaru basically used the hit and miss jutsu, and even though they're bone, he basically used reinforced chakra, basically fists on it, basically breaking them down, as Naruto does finish up his skeleton with a Shadow Clone Jutsu. Basically, the fight really just went like, block, dodge, jump, backwards, but, basically rush forward, swing the scythe down, throw in basically both his scythes. That's how it went. And Mito would ask Naruto after basically he basically kills off basically her bone skeleton, saying, so, question. He's like, yes? She goes, basically, you haven't known about the Uzumaki chains, right? Which Naruto's like, uh, Uzumaki, what now? These. As then she would show her Uzumaki chains. As Naruto's like, wait, do Uzumakis have a Kekai Genkai? Yeah, Kekai Genkai, basically. As she would nod, which basically Kishimaru was like, okay, your village has really been stupid. As Naruto just sighs, and he goes, yep. Well, since you're basically here to basically tell me anything about my clan, Lady Mito, she goes, don't call me lady, we're family. Call me basically granny or, basically auntie. Which basically he just blinks and then I think you have a smile behind the mask. Well, the mask and says thank you basically to her. And she would just say it's no problem. As even Kishimaru will have a smile on his face and he just says, okay, this is actually kind of sweet. And I don't feel like hurling. As I think Naruto will have a slight chuckle. So, after basically that, Naruto and basically his group does go down further into the dungeon, which basically it won't take long before basically they go through the rest of basically the enemies. Each enemy basically will be taken down basically in a different way, but he's still basically progressing very good. Somehow the teamwork is basically very well done and is easily able to basically take down the enemies. Naruto with his shadow clones, even if he does not basically, I would say even though he doesn't basically show off his shadow clone, his regular skills that well. Sorry, I just have to read something real quick. Okay, sorry about that, but yeah. So, they would basically get down to the boss. Because basically, there's been like two variants of skeletons, and basically, the whole entire the dungeon has been bone skeletons, ice, basically skeletons. Which, quite frankly, it's actually kind of weird. But Naruto shrugs it off and just says, does not matter to me at the moment. So, because of this, Naruto basically asks Mito, what do you think is going to be down here at the final level? Which she sighs and says, hopefully it won't be anything too difficult for you. And Kishimaru says, yeah. No offense, you basically are lacking in a lot of skill there. But with the way you've been, I guess, training yourself, it hasn't been too bad. Which he does have he does have a soft smile behind the mask that says, thanks. So, because of this, we do have Naruto basically, go down to the dungeon and, the dungeon final boss floor and basically see it's basically the same boss from the second game, basically the first boss from the game. As Naruto basically goes like, wait, Is that a ice skeleton bigger boss? Which it basically Kishimoto goes like, well, that seems like a, I don't know, golem, right, Mito? She would nod. Curious. So, as it basically looks at, them, and what they can see behind basically the boss is a lot of materials. I mean, they also have received money from each boss. I mean, not each boss, each fight basically they've been in, and Naruto basically has been putting that away in his basically ninja pouch. So he goes, okay. So there's a lot of materials. I guess that's the iron there that we can get. Well, I can get, which she's basically will nod as Kishimaru goes like, enough talk, kill this thing. As Naruto was like, yeah, this is gonna be a long night. So, Naruto will rush in, basically making shadow clones, as Mito rush in right behind the shadow clones and start doing hand signs. All of the clones take out basically their scythes, as one of them turns into a big giant scythe, as Naruto basically has, his scythes, as then basically the, how should I say this right? As then another clone, basically, I would say, because since they don't know many jutsus at all, they would have to basically, he only be using one scythe and be ready to basically be the lookout. So yeah, as Kishimaru made basically the hit miss jutsu, as the ice golem doesn't know where Naruto is or Mito and such, and so it basically starts to look around trying to find them because it saw them coming at it. As Naruto would basically swing the scythe 2 times, hitting the creature, as then the basically creature roar out in pain, as then Mito would basically use a fire style fireball jutsu, hitting the creature from the front as Kishimaru run towards it and basically using the mist moisture that it made and use a water style water bullet. As when it hits the creature, the water does freezes, but this is when the clone basically comes out of nowhere and slashes it. And Naruto basically starts slashing basically at the creature too, as Mito would take her sword, but and basically start using her change to hold it and keep it in place while basically Naruto and Kishimaru would attack. So this basically turns out to be a good strategy because after basically wearing it down and such, it would basically start to get it looks like it's about to basically be defeated and get tired. As such, then Naruto would basically feel, I would say, a whole bunch of energy and all of a sudden basically destroy it, in which that would be very, I would not say shocking, but I would say basically it was just basically he gets a whole entire basically energy that basically helps him basically make a wave of basically energy that hits the creature, slashing it into 2 pieces. And that's going to be the shocking part for everyone. But yeah. So, after that, I would think Naruto basically just sighs in relief and goes like, we did it. Okay. And then all of a sudden, basically money and, money would basically pop out of the basically the corpse of the monster, and I would say loot at least this time will pop out, as Naruto would basically get some basically new armor piece, which ain't much. But I'm just gonna basically say what the armor piece I have on for right now. But yeah. Huh. Oh, give me a minute. I'm trying to figure out this item. Okay. So, I'll say which arm pieces I have on my character right now, and these will be the arm guards, which I actually don't really think they're really bad. But Ravenger bindings, which Naruto picked them up, and he goes like, huh, cool. As he puts them on and such, he doesn't notice basically the marks. Well, it basically does cover his forearm, but then basically he can still, somehow he still understands that he'll basically still see his, well, weapon there. As he basically would just nod. And, well, Naruto basically was like, so, who's ready basically to, I guess, get this all basically materials? As Mito would just nod and he goes like, well, it's a good thing I guess you picked up that basically pickaxe on the way, huh? He goes, yeah, you're right though, I should have, it was good, well, it was right for us to pick it up. Thanks for basically the suggestion, Mito. I mean, well, actually, he would just call her Granny. In which she would just chuckle at him and just says, it's no problem. As, in a sense, Naruto would basically, I guess, make shadow clones and such, as then basically, while holding the axe as it gives it to them, as they would just basically nod and such, and he basically then grinds basically the materials, and he basically gets a good amount of iron. And so, because of this, it would take a little bit long for them, but they would eventually get what they need and basically be able to leave. But I would think Kishimaru were like, hey look. As basically when they see, it's basically death coming over to them. As I think, they would ask basically why is he here, as he's saying he was just here to basically give this back to someone. As it would be, well, basically Kishimaru. As Kishimaru goes like, wait, it's the Nabaru. Well, Nibaru. As he would nod, he goes like, yes, it is. It's your basically, well, it's your sewing needle. I want you to teach Naruto how to use it, since he's going to basically be, going to be keeping it on him at all times. As Naruto's like, and what about this? As basically, Death will basically, Shinigami would then hand him a scroll. Which, Naruto was like, wait, what's this? He goes, how should I say this right for you to understand? It's basically a sealed scroll that was given to me by Orochimaru. I went over to visit him after his recollection of our deal. And so he had basically a storage seal on basically the scroll, and I modified it with basically my, powers at least. So, it can hold basically a lot more than what it should. You can say this is your whole entire inventory. Which Naruto would just blink, as then he goes like, so I have everything I want on here? He goes, yes. Now, you must be warned. At least for this part of the seals of the storage scroll, it has basically multiple seals for different categories: weapons, of primary and secondary, and armor pieces. You already got basically your armor pieces right there. In your Reaper form, they'll be just what they are on your arms at the moment. But if basically you are in your normal form, they are basically just regular, basically arm bracers. As Naruto would just blink and just nod. And so the portal will open and he goes, you have about, I would say, 57 pieces of iron. That is one task you'll need basically for basically the metal. I recommend basically before you leave to infuse it with your energy so it will become, well, I do want not to say death metal, but you could call it that, or even basically necromancy metal, necro metal, for necromancy. Which Naruto's like, I have to try and make my own type of metal with this, huh? He goes, yes. Try to figure out a name for it. Well, always find my scythes after killing my enemies from time to time. There's even basically, I would say, for you to even watch out for possess double scythes at least, or just scythes. Which he's like, huh? You'll find out about them later. As Naruto just sighs and he looks at all the metals that basically he has, and he basically starts to infuse his energy on it, and turns into the metal that he'll need for the future. And so, after that, basically, they basically leave the dungeon, and basically, I would say after the portal closes, I would say that, basically the dungeon, closes and such, and not Kushina, but Kishimaru was like, alright, so we can't train you now because you have a mission, right? As he nods, as then basically Mina goes like, and you also don't know about, I guess, nothing about the Uzumaki clan or your basically parentage, as we know. So I'll basically have to tell you about a quick, pit stop, you can say, or just make a detour before we go to your home. I want to stay in your Reaper form for this because I don't want none of the Konoha ninjas to find out about you. As Naruto would just blink and nod. So, I would say what they have is they basically have a walk through the woods as Naruto goes, so, where are we going, Granny? As she was sighed, goes like, we're going to Uzumaki Shrine here in Konoha. It holds basically a mask that, or a mask that we basically are guardians of, that was given to us by the Shinigami himself to summon him if we ever need him. As Naruto's like, hold up. What? As even Kishimaru did not know this. He goes, so wait, you guys literally can summon out the Shinigami anytime you want? She goes, it's complicated to explain. We can summon out the Shinigami for some things, but it's if we want to basically revive someone. We can use a Shadow Clone for our sacrifice, but we can only do it once every basically year, because there's a recharge to it. The Shinigami has been close to Uzumaki clan for years, and I guess because of Naruto, it's the Shinigami thought it was about time basically the Uzumaki basically dependent. If I would say if you knew the truth, Naruto, you would be kind of shocked about your true heritage. Which Naruto's like, yeah. If I remember correctly, I'm a prince? I guess. In which basically Mita would nod in a way. She goes, yes, Prince of Uzu. Which Naruto would just nod. He goes, because as the last, at least the one last Uzumaki, male, right? She goes, there may be maybe a couple males out there. Which Naruto basically was just not understanding. As it would take a while for them to arrive at I would say basically the shrine, and they did almost run into some Konoha Anbu. As when they get to the Uzumaki shrine, Naruto's like, well, here we are, I guess, right? As it's a worn down, well, looks like a worn down with not much. Basically, I would say not much wear and tear on it. Still looking like it still, was made, but with just vines and some basically little, well, rotting here and there. She would basically nod and just sigh and saying, did Kushina not take care of this? Which Naruto would just blink and just shrug. As Kushimaru's like, should I even be here? Which she says, well, we are partners, so yes. And he just nods. So they would go up to the shrine and such, and immediately, though, I would say Mito would just, at least make some hand signs to put up a barrier just in case if anyone would try to basically prevent them from, doing what they need to. So Naruto asks, so we're here to get the mask, right? She goes, yes, the mask and at least some of basically Uzumaki's secrets. Which you were like, okay. See, these are just basically from other what ifs I've seen, but they always have like some reason the Uzumaki Shrine also holds like a weapon and such. In this case, not really. It's just Naruto basically, gets something. It's more like it's just an artifact that was hold. Now, basically an artifact that's a weapon. So, as I said, they would basically go up to it and, well, open up the shrine and such. As Naruto basically would see it, and he's like, huh. Wow, that's a... I didn't expect it to still stay looking this good from the inside. Which, Mito says, seals. They come in handy for a lot. And that's one of the reasons why the clan was wiped out, due to the fact of our great knowledge and, well, great knowledge and uses of seals. Any other village basically would have feared us because of it. If they didn't, basically, we would have been able to share with them. It's a shame. They wiped the Uzumaki clan out of fear, as Kishimaru just says it was not because of that. It was also due to someone basically give us intel that may have been falsified, if I really think about it. That you basically, or should I say the clan was going to basically do something with basically the bijus out of, I guess, madness. Which, this would kind of make, this would make Mito kind of confused and such. As Kishimaru says, all I know is, basically the clan, the Uzumaki clan was going to basically do something with seals that had to do with the Biju. I don't know what, but no one really cared at the moment, since the Uzumaki clan was becoming a threat to, each other village. So Mito basically would just blink and just sigh. So, they basically look at Naruto as Naruto's just saying, what do you want me to do with the mask? All the masks, basically. And Mito would say, can you, seal them away and, with the scroll? I mean, it'd be kind of easy. And besides, look. As she basically would actually look at the seal that's on the ground and basically tried. I guess I would think she'll basically use her hand. Basically smear some blood on it and do some hand signs, and basically all of a sudden when the steel basically starts glowing, we do have basically all of a sudden a secret passage opens up as Naruto just blinks as Mito will walk in and grab basically a necklace. In which the necklace would kind of look almost similar to basically Hashirama's necklace, but not really. The only slight difference is instead of basically a green gem, it's basically purple. It's not just like, huh? Basically, Mito will say, this gem, basically, I gave it to my granddaughter, and, well, at least Hashirama's necklace, as I was the one that gave it to him as basically a present for our wedding. As Naruto will just nod, and she says, but this one is the Uzumaki, given to us basically by the Shinigami himself. And so, as basically the Horseman of Death, it's alright that you basically to use it. As Naruto just blinks and he just says, huh. That's I guess you're right on that one. So, as Naruto would, go and take the necklace, he would just be thinking, I think, to himself, basically, of what has happened so far, and basically this necklace would grant him some immunity to, basically, elements. It would basically work his chakra nature. Since Kurama basically has all 5 elements, are made of all 5 elements, I do think he would be able to be immune to more than others. Like Wendy will be immune to any wind jutsus. Water jutsus with the Uzumaki clan may be able to use. He'll be immune to them. So there's those, and with basically the fire from Kurama, maybe. Anything else he has a slight resistance to. So that would be very useful for him. So, in a way, Naruto would basically just look at Mito and ask, what now? She would just sigh, but like, well, you have to get back home, and basically, we're already done here. We already got the masks, all the masks that we basically need so no one can use them. We don't want anyone else try to basically to get a hold of it, so that's a good thing. Which Naruto would nod in agreement. And then basically Kishimaru says, well, here's basically my Nabari, as Naruto grabs it and all of a sudden it starts glowing purple, green, and red, and then just disappears. And then a new mark appears on his arm. And he nods to, Kishimaru. And so, basically Naruto would just desummon them, and basically he can somehow can hear Kurama just saying, thank you for getting rid of her. If she was any basically staying longer, I think I would have lost it. Which Naruto just sighs and just says, alright Kurama, just play nice with them if they're out, okay? He goes, I'm not making any promises. And Naruto sighs again. So, after that little thing, we do have basically Naruto getting back to his home. As Naruto, would already have to taking off the mask, gets home, and basically, get his rest. So we do go to the next day, as Naruto would have gone to basically the meeting spot after basically Sakura only like basically probably 2 minutes before Kakashi. So, after basically Kakashi arrives, they all basically try to do basically a Kai motion. And, well, I would say, because of them realizing Kakashi actually was here on time, they're basically just not going to question it no more and just be like, okay. So they do set out the mission. On the way, though, I do think, basically, Sakura still asks the questions, but it's in a way more way more basically subdued tone, not loud like it would have been. As this would kind of basically surprise basically both Sasuke and Kakashi, while Naruto knows this is basically original, personality, a Kane. And she goes, Tazuna, why is basically Wave Country, not hiring any basically ninjas? I'm curious. As they would talk about basically a minor village like that doesn't have ninjas, only basically the main 5 basically big village does and such. And she would nod. As everything be kind of quiet and such, but Naruto is talking to Dust. Dust is basically being a lookout and saying there's a puddle. As Naruto basically will look at the puddle ahead of time, and he basically can see basically big black, not very big black dots, but no, actually no, yeah, no, they will see like black dots, basically medium size, as Naruto would just, know what they are. As he would basically kind of have an instinct of knowing basically of who they are, what has been done, and how many lives have they taken that were innocent or not. As he sighs because there's way more innocent souls they have killed than non-innocent. As basically, for some reason, when that, happens, after he sighs, he suddenly gets a little bit serious. He basically has a little bit more serious look on his face as Kakashi notices this, including Sakura / Kane. And so when they pass basically the puddle, the Demon Brothers would come out and basically go after Kakashi, as then immediately basically Naruto basically throws a kunai, as one of the brothers would block with the gauntlet, as Sasuke would basically try to jump onto basically both of the brothers, just like he would in canon, and then he would basically try to throw the shuriken and kunai. But instead of basically when he basically about to do that, he basically notices there's basically 2 Zenbons in each of the brother, basically in a pressure point, it looks like. As one of them says, "What the? I can't move my arm!" As the other one just sees the Zenbon and just looks at, whoever threw it in was Sakura, who has a smirk on her face. As before anyone could say anything, Naruto and basically, I would say, Sasuke would basically run towards them, as Naruto brought his scythes, and since the one can't use the gauntlet with the chain, and there's only one brother that can use the gauntlet with the chain, because they can move their arm, the one tries to jump back, as the one also tries to block, and they can't move, so the one that tried to jump gets pulled back, as Naruto basically slashes at that one, basically with a double swing, cutting the basically person in 2. As he can feel bile basically coming up his throat as he's about to, throw up, but he holds it back, as Sasuke basically, was basically throwing a kick at the one that blocked his attack, as then he punches basically the one by, I would say, twisting his body so he can hit the guy in the ribs by, hanging upside down from it, as the guy's basically, gets hit, and then he saw his brother gets killed. He basically, yelled out his brother's name, which I forgot the name, Dosu and something, I guess, not Dosu, but basically the second demon brother. the youngest, as he basically, yells out his name and he goes, "I'll kill you!" He runs towards Naruto as Naruto basically is getting, basically ready as the chain breaks as I think basically all of a sudden multiple Zenbon goes and hits the guy from basically well, in in his other shoulder, in his knee, in his leg, and one uh, basically in his hand, the one that's not covered by the gauntlet. As Kakashi's just blinking, as Naruto would basically go over to the guy and I think he will basically release some basically killer intent as he goes, "Tell us why you are here." Basically, he will be even though the man is basically scared of the kid. He's still angry. He goes, "I'll never tell you anything." As this when Sakura comes in, she goes, technically Kane. She goes, that could be easily fixed. Which Naruto looks at her and Naruto can see basically a smile on her face, which that kind of creeps out the demon brother, the older one. Even basically Kakashi and Sasuke is basically kind of like wondering. Tazuna's like, "What the?" As Sakura pulled out kunai and took out vial and then basically cover it. Basically kunai with basically the liquid. She goes, "This basically you can say is a toxin that will basically, how can I say this right, give you basically more pain in that basically limb after I take out the Zenbon. That basically have a paralyzing toxin on it. A basically said body part in a sense. So, as soon as I cut basically that limb will hurt the most. As I basically would, continue basically to cut basically that limb, making cut marks on you to make it more and more painful, as even just from the slightest touch, that will basically make it feel like your arm is being burned by the sun. So, you can tell us what we want, or we can basically do this the hard way." As he basically glares at her, thinking she won't do it, as she makes then 3 slash marks on his arm, as then basically takes out the Zenbon that's basically in his shoulder, and basically just punches that limb underneath basically the slash marks, which he screams out in pain. In which Naruto basically looking at her and looking back at him, he goes, "You can't play this the easy way." As he just grips his teeth, saying he won't say nothing, as Sakura basically does, basically make more slash marks, and she goes, "Naruto?" And he basically looks at her, and she can see him looking basically like he doesn't want to, but she just looks, giving him basically a reassuring, basically smile. And she will say, "We need to do this. We need to know why our client basically is being attacked by, the Demon Brothers. Because they're also missing in. And I know basically the way even though you're conflicted, you know what they've done." Which basically that kind of catches everyone a little bit off guard, as just with one quick motion, even if it's just like basically a shallow basically cut on his basically arm, the man screams out in agony and pain. As finally he would just tell them everything, as Naruto would just nod and saying basically, "Thank you for everything, and I'm sorry." Before anyone can say anything, like Akashi, Sakura would just whatever walked away, as Naruto swiftly cuts off the Demon Brother's head and catches it. In which basically that was shocked everyone, as Naruto would basically take out a scroll and seal it away. And then immediately, basically after he puts his knives away, because they basically poof away in basically energy, Naruto would go over basically to a bush and throw up everything from this morning. As Sakura / King would go over and pat his back. Which Kakashi is just shocked that Naruto was willing to do that, And Sakura doesn't seem too frightened by this, but Sasuke's like, what? How could they do that? They, they, they never would able to do that in the academy, but how strong are they? Which Tadano's thinking, they're just kids, and they act like this. Ninjas are different. Which Kakashi's wondering basically about it, in which Naruto would just sigh and just look at Sakura with a thankful smile, and then she takes out basically a canteen and she goes, "Here, Enko gave this to me basically after I got some training from her and she made me do my first kill." Which he would nod and just drink it, and basically after he would drink some, he goes, "Tea, huh?" She would nod. She puts the canteen, back in her, bag. In which Kakashi goes, "Naruto, how do you feel?" Which Naruto would just sigh and goes, "I don't feel good, but I have to get used to that." Which Kakashi's just kind of shocked, and he looks at Sakura. He goes, "Sakura?" She goes, "Indifferent." But she just blinks, and he goes, "What? Huh?" He goes, "Oh, this ain't my first, seeing people dying. Enko Sensei basically kind of had me kill someone. And one of her basically, basically she was getting information out of someone. After he gave everything that they wanted us to, the Kage gave the okay for killing him, and she asked if I could. He didn't know at the time, but he agreed to it, and so I already got my first kill underneath my belt." In which, basically, Kakashi would just nod slowly to that. And then he basically, but still, "How are you taking this?" She goes, "I know killing ain't great, Kakashi-sensei, but I'm not gonna let this bother me. We're ninjas. It's all part of basically our job description. And besides, the more basically problem is Gado, and basically Zabuza. This basically is not a C rank mission no more. This is an A rank." Which Kakashi would just nod, and basically Naruto would be like, "Yeah, but I think we'll be okay." Which basically kind of makes everyone blink. And basically Kakashi asks why. He goes, I didn't want to say this, but I have no... Technically, I could just basically let us go on with the mission and such, but Zabuza hit in the mist. Demon of the Mist. I can't take him on at the level I am now, even with my improvements. But I think we can handle it due to basically a new skill I got. Which Sakura would just smile at him and goes like, "Oh, new skill? Fascinating. Can you tell us?" Which Naruto goes, "Tell you? I'll just show you." As then all of a sudden he just raised up his hands as all of his two coffins are coming out of the ground. As this makes everyone blink, as because it was also purple energy was also coming off of Naruto and the ground. As when the coffins burst, there's Kishimaru and meat of Uzumaki, which that makes Kakashi blink. And he goes, "Naruto, did you just..." He goes, "I'm not going to explain it to you, Sensei, but it has something to do with a part of my Uzumaki heritage." Which that shocks Kakashi because of, one, he knows about the Uzumakis, and two, because of the person that is with the red hair and the diamond mark on her forehead. And when both of them open up their eyes, Vito goes, "Naruto, you called us already?" Which he goes, "Yeah, Granny, kind of ran into a snag on our mission." As basically Kishimaru goes like, "Like what? An A-rank ninja?" Which basically Naruto goes, "Yes, actually." Kishimaru goes like, "Damn. Well, gonna need my Nibari." Which Naruto basically is marking that everyone kind of realizes he has basically arm guards. Basically all of a sudden appears as he throws it to him. He goes, "Who is it?" Zabuza, Demon of the Mist. Which Kishimaru goes like, Zabuza, huh? Well, it's gonna be a blast from the past from him, huh? Well, for him, huh? Which Naruto just nods, goes. But then she basically, Mito sees basically a dead body and another dead body. And she's like, Naruto, did you make my first 2 kills? Yeah. Well, official 2 kills. Not undead. Which she would nod, and Kishimaru would just go up to him and just pat him on on the head and be like, it's not gonna be the easiest, I should know. I'm a guy that basically would take my time with killing my opponents, make them suffer, and gain information out of them at the exact same time. Look, I'm not really basically a talkative type of person. It's all because of basically Lord Shimigami. He's making me be this way for you. Say, be the father figure, or big brother, or whatever, teacher that he never could have. Because of Cyclops over there has a favor base because of the civilian council for ya. Which that would shock Naruto and get basically Akane/Sakura angry. Which Naruto will look at basically Kakashi with a little bit of rage in his eyes, as Mito would suddenly place a hand on his shoulder. Shows, and that's why we're here to teach you, Naruto. Which Naruto would just sigh and nod. Which Kakashi just thinking to himself, how does he know? How did they even know? And so Tazuna goes like, okay, who are these two? How can this kid do this? And is that even a ninja skill? Naruto goes, he's about to say something, but then Mito says, no, it's not a ninja skill, it's part of Uzumaki's hidden bloodline. You see, we, the Uzumaki clan, were technically not servants, but we respected basically the deities above. Like Kami, Amaterasu, Shimigami. So, basically, the Shimigami was impressed with us and met our ancestor. And ever since then, we've been sort of, you could say, not worshipping of the Shimigami, but praying to him to, protect us in the afterlife and in life, keep our basically loved ones safe in battle, and so on and so forth. And to the point where the Shimigami basically said, if anything that has ever happened to the Uzumaki clan, the Shimigami would basically not let the last Uzumaki, or near last Uzumaki, basically be alive. I mean, not be alive, but die easily. So, the Shimigami found basically Naruto here, awakening up his, hidden bloodline that the Shimigami has given us. Besides our Uzumaki chains and basically longevity. Which, basically, this would kind of make everyone blink at Kakashi just thinking, oh no. It's to say that we can use the weapons of death, even basically have slight powers of it too. We are able to, he's able to summon, usually, we'll be able to summon ghouls with his Exham? Well, not Exham, I mean Exame. But because he's the last, nearly one of the last Uzumakis out there, the Shimigami allowed him, his ability to come with different properties. He basically could summon out basically people that the Shimigami chooses, only for right now 2. It would come to 3 and maybe even more, depending on how impressed he basically makes the Shimigami proud, or basically would be shocked by what he's able to do. So in a sense, Naruto here is sort of, you could say, a horseman of death. As Naruto just sighs, because Mito will smile, as he goes, Granny, you really have to tell him all that? I want to keep this a secret. Which basically Kishimaru goes like, kid, you can't keep this a secret for long. Besides, the only reason why is basically we are here, because like you said, Zabuza, if I know him, he probably has some more basically goons with him. He always likes to basically keep working with his team than most of us. Or he likes to work alone, depending on the mission. That kid was a real pain in the back sometimes. Which Naruto just kind of chuckle. So, in a sense, though, he would look at basically everyone there, as Mito would just, well, look at them. She goes, "Oh, yes. For anyone from Konoha, I'm sorry for this." And then basically they're like, "Huh?" As well as she disappears, knocking out basically Sasuke, and before Kakashi can even do anything, basically they knock out basically, Kishimaru knocks out Kakashi. As all of a sudden Miyu does hand signs real quick and basically does a memory seal and slash alteration seal. So yeah. As they basically, as Tazuna just blinking as Naruto was like, "Huh?" And Sakura was like, "What type of seal did you put on them?" with a curious look. Mito was a alteration memory seal and basically memory suppression seal of basically what I basically told of them. For now, at least. Which Naruto was like, "What do you mean for now?" She goes, "Well, the memory suppression seal is basically there to suppress the memory of what information I want them to know. The alteration will just make it where, you basically, anything basically we want, and I want them basically to just think you were basically, about to about to basically be attacked by rogue ninjas, but then they offered to help due to their mutual hatred towards Gado, as basically Kishimaru and Mito basically transform, themselves into different people." A few minutes later, Kakashi and Sasuke will wake up, and they will just ask what happened. As basically Mito says, "You fainted because of who we are," as who we are and what we can do. As he would just blink and he basically remember what they can do and such, and just nod, as they would basically walk away. Now, I do have to get to work. I do have to go, so I can't really go further in this, and it's already almost an hour and 30 minutes, so you guys have a nice day, night, wherever you are, and bye everyone.